I'm Kristen Oakes White. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. This week is the start of Black History Month, celebrating the contributions African Americans have made to the country. So today we want to introduce you to a Baton Rouge man named Junius Dillard. His famous tea cakes are something celebrated by many who frequent the Red Stick Farmers Market. This week, TWILA's Jennifer Finley takes us to his home for a 5 a.m. baking session to learn about his delicious recipe passed down through the generations.
All right, get you some, bring home to the rest of the family.
So everybody know about Dillard's tea cake.
Talk to me now.
Basically, and I'm not bragging, I'm telling a fact. I am the original tea cake baker here in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Come on.
My tea cake is a grandmama hand-me-down.
This is grandmama's recipe. Difference between mama and grandmama is grandmama.
Get that. Therefore, everybody wants my tea cake.
Old-fashioned grandmama's recipe. Not mama.
So,
Big difference.
let's get started so that we can see the process of putting it together. I have a gentleman who does all of the rolling and putting them in the pans. Then when he finishes and leaves, I go out there and I do the baking. As you can see, he rolls them out and he's getting ready to do the cutting. What's in my tea cakes are the following: butter, milk, eggs, vanilla, flour, nutmeg, baking powder, a little taste of salt. The dough is soft, it's not hard. Makes it easy for Brother Walker to roll. That's a good thing. Let me just tell you my age. I'm 83. And I'm one of the oldest vendors in the farmer's market.
Yes, indeed. They saved you some. Now, this lady left you some.
I have watched so many vendors come and go, but I am one of the original vendors.
They saved you some. Come on, get yours.
So I'm grateful, first of all, to the market for what it has done, and as a result, I'm dedicated to serve.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
And the one thing about me in the market is this: if I don't sell a tea cake, I'm happy to just be there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Have a blessed day. You too.
To talk to them and to say hi and good morning, and it's good to see you here. And to me, that's my reward. I enjoy that. Now, the results of that is I sell our tea cakes out. Ah, that's pretty. That's beautiful. These are beautiful. I think, and put them here. I don't know how long God will have me here, but in my mind, I can answer it and say, as long as the Lord gives me health and strength, of which I pray for and is grateful for every morning, I'll be doing tea cakes.
Black History Month started as a week in 1926, but was expanded to a month by President Gerald Ford in 1976. To learn more about Black History Month or how to find Junius and his grandmama's tea cakes, visit us at twilatv.org. Well, tea cakes are something you'll find at the Red Stick Farmers Market every weekend. But what about the produce coming from the field? What's in season right now? Well, this week, TWILA's Carl Wiggers takes us to a farmer's market in St. Helena Parish to find out.
Like you say, you can find pretty much some of everything. You know, we have canned goods. We push the vegetables the hardest, the fresh vegetables, you know. We just went through the winter crops, the leafy greens, the kale, the collard greens, the mustard, the turnips, green onions, you know. But we push the vegetables the hardest, but we don't shy away from the other products. You know, St. Helena is in the food desert. You know, I think we are number 3 or 4 in the state on the bad end, you know. So the thing is, you know, we have farmers here that can produce enough vegetables, you know. They were pretty much producing vegetables for themselves, but when we introduced the market, you know, they were able to jump right in, and they just needed that extra push to get into the market. So they are now producing enough vegetables for themselves and the market.
Now there are farmers markets like this one all across the state for you to visit. To find one near you, head over to our website at twilatv.org. Community gardens are becoming increasingly popular in recent years. The pandemic seems to have put further life into the idea of better access to food. This week, Neil Melanson shows us a new initiative that's putting roots into Baton Rouge.
It's still winter, which means this garden needs covering up before the latest cold snap. What can't be covered up, though, is the success it's seen so far. This is the Baton Roots Farm at Howell Park in Baton Rouge, and it's the start of something green in this urban area.
We're a coalition working to fight food insecurity needs, so we have partners that do grocery delivery and do mobile farmers markets, and we're one of the producers in this coalition to grow food and do education around people growing their own food as well.
Mitchell has experience in classrooms, which is part of why he's trying to bring ag to schools in this area. These planter boxes full of seedlings are themselves the seeds from which other gardens grow.
And I left the classroom to do work with community gardens and do education with students. And I went back and got my master's in urban forestry at Southern University, and it's kind of just expanded to saw what other cities were doing around urban agriculture and youth, and just thought Baton Rouge needed to have a program like this.
Here at the 4-acre farm in Howell Park, they've incorporated ideas such as separating the rows with pollinator-attracting plants. These ideas can be directly seen at Capitol High, which mimics the farm on its smaller plot. This pioneering program is bringing the important lessons of agriculture to communities in need.
We see an urban committee through the Farm Service Agency developing in New Orleans. So Farm Bureau wants to be involved with that, and we want to make sure every person, well, no matter if you live in downtown Baton Rouge or in the most rural parish in the state, that you understand that it takes a community of farmers and consumers to keep this chain going.
The gardens are not just educational, they're also directly giving back to the community. The kids who cultivate these gardens, their families, and people in the metro Baton Rouge area in general can all get produce from these gardens.
During normal non-COVID times, we have lots of programming out here. We have We Grow Wednesdays, which we invite the community to come out. We work in our community garden, do demonstrations, whatever we harvest, people get to take home. And then we also do a program on Saturdays, So Good Saturdays, where we invite people to come out, volunteer on the farm, and then they get to harvest and take home produce as well.
Baton Roots is a project of the Walls Project, a comprehensive strategy to use creativity to empower communities and their economies. For more information, you can visit our website at twilatv.org. And Kristen, this is, a continuation kind of the story I did in Opelousas last week. All of these community gardens have kind of been around, this idea has been around for so long, but people I think are really realizing the value and importance of food. And as Tony Harris explained a couple weeks ago, it's not just putting a seed in the ground. You really have to think about how you're going to market that product, how you're going to store it, all of the things that are involved, before and after the actual growing. And that really ties into what farmers do on a regular basis. It's not just plows and sows, as they say.
No, and it's not just putting a seed in the ground. There's a whole lot that goes in between harvesting and putting the seed in the ground, keeping it, for me, keeping your garden alive. Right. And managing pests, yes, especially down here.
And all of those things also kind of highlight there are many jobs in agriculture. It's not just farming or anything. There's all kinds of agronomist jobs and things like that. And these kids are getting exposed to that there's more than one pathway in life that can all come out of just these simple community gardens.
Awesome story, Neil. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Well, springtime is prime time for planting gardens, but it's also a time that students are making plans for college and looking for scholarships. Now is the time to apply for Louisiana Farm Bureau Foundation's Linda and Wayne Zonbrecker Scholarship. This scholarship began back in 1993 and has been awarded to 170 graduating high school seniors and counting. Since starting the scholarship, the foundation has given more than $420,000 to help students pursuing careers in agriculture. In May, up to 5 of these scholarships will be awarded to students meeting the criteria such as ACT scores, academic achievement, school and community involvement, and more. The application must be filled out and delivered to your local Farm Bureau office. It can be mailed or hand-delivered. To find that application and learn more about the information about the scholarship, head over to our website at twilatv.org. As if you need a reminder, there's a new administration and a new Congress taking action in the nation's capital. That action is what we discuss on the Grassroots Government podcast. Last week, the crew got together for the first time this year, where Carl and Avery asked Andy Brown, Louisiana Farm Bureau's National Affairs Coordinator, about the first weeks of the new administration and its impact on agriculture.
New administration, new Congress, 117th has kicked off, but so far, most things have been coming out of that executive branch, and we're trying to keep pace, but it's happening fast and furious.
Now, if you want to keep up with the fast and furious legislative actions happening in D.C. and here in Baton Rouge, subscribe to our Grassroots Government podcast. You can find a link to that on our website at twilatv.org. 136 days. That's how long the 2020 Louisiana sugarcane harvest lasted. According to the LSU Ag Center, grinding season officially ended on January 29th. As TWILA's Avery Davidson shows us, it was the end to an important season for all of Louisiana.
This is how Louisiana sugarcane farmers spent Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Day. In fact, the 2020 Louisiana sugarcane harvest was one of the longest ever, spanning more than 4 months.
In spite of all the hurricanes and other challenges going on in 2020, we had a very good harvest.
Gary Gravois farms sugarcane near Napoleonville. He echoes what LSU Ag Center sugarcane specialist Dr. Ken Gravois says, that the 2020 sugarcane crop was a big crop that did not take as much damage as feared from 5 tropical systems making landfall in Louisiana.
Even though we had all these hurricanes, our sugar recovery is good. We're probably going to average somewhere around 232 pounds of sugar per ton out of the core lab. That's great.
What Gary Gravois says is great is what a good year means for rural parishes like Assumption, where agriculture is the lifeblood of the economy.
I think after a big crop like we just had, I think the parish will benefit from that going forward. I think the farmers financially are doing well, and they're going to reinvest in their equipment and things of that sort.
Both Gravois agree that Louisiana's sugar industry is poised for a successful 2021 sugarcane season, barring any disasters.
The 20 crop has left us with, I think, some good prospects for a 21 crop. We didn't have a lot of rain during the harvest. We had a dry harvest early on. We didn't rut up the fields too much, and the way the cane's coming back now, even though it's still kind of cold, it's looking pretty good right now.
It's been a mild winter. We haven't had any severe freezes. The regrowth is starting to come back. The stands are good. Things look good going into 2021.
And that's exactly the kind of news Louisiana needs coming out of 2020. With the help of Carl Wiggers and Craig Gautreaux, I'm Avery Davidson for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
This week, the American Sugarcane League and the American Society of Sugarcane Technologists held a joint annual meeting. It was virtual this year, but still well attended by more than 120 people. This week, we're bringing back the Ag Minute. Now, I've created a few of these in my earlier days at TWILA, but the first person to produce them on the TWILA team was Lauren Tom back in 2008. Today, we're introducing some new extended members of the TWILA team, and if you're a longtime viewer, the name may ring a bell. We're partnering with the Southern Food and Beverage Museum to bring back this weekly staple back to TWILA. This week, we meet some of the folks that will be bringing us this fun segment.
Greetings, I'm Brent Rosen, president of the Southern Food and Beverage Museum, and we're so excited to be partnering on Ag Minute to bring you some of the best stories of Louisiana's food, culture, and history here from the Southern Food and Beverage Museum.
Hi, I'm Maddie Hayes, and I'm the Programs and Curatorial Manager here at Southern Food and Beverage Museum, and I will be teaching you about food history and fun.
Hello, my name is Latrice. I am the Garden Director at SoFab, and I will be giving you tips from the garden.
Hi, I'm Liz Williams, the founder of the Southern Food and Beverage Museum. I'm going to be talking to you about the celebration of the foods, products, and culture of Louisiana.
Thanks, team. We're so excited to be connecting you with the history of all of these great products and stories here in Louisiana, and look forward to bringing it to you every week with the Ag Minute. So thanks, and come see us at the Southern Food and Beverage Museum, located at 1504 Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard in New Orleans.
And if you're still trying to figure out why that name sounds so familiar, in 2012 we filmed our show at their old location during our annual convention. They've since moved into a new facility, so I guess we may need to visit again soon. You can go visit as well and learn more about the Southern Food and Beverage Museum when you visit our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on TWILA, it's getting ready to be that time of year, strawberries and crawfish season. We'll have a look at this year's crop, plus getting literate with Farm Bureau. Stay with us. Good weather in the fall and winter has put Louisiana's strawberry crop ahead of schedule. As TWILA's Craig Gautreaux shows us, peak production is not until March and April, but you can find them now if you have the craving.
Rows of ripe red strawberries dot Dale Corona's farm just outside of Independence. He and his son Matthew started picking a few in November, and now at the end of January, production is surprisingly increasing. And just how long does it take to go from a small white flower to a delicious strawberry?
At this time of the year, you're looking at more like about 5 weeks. It's close to 35, 40 days even, from flower to a strawberry.
That number can get as low as 21 days as the weather gets warmer. With 14 acres of plants, Corona has a steady supply leaving his field, and he hopes to be picking for a while.
We plant several different varieties, and we plant them at different times, so we will have berries all the way into May.
Corona has approximately 200,000 strawberry plants, which translates into tons of fresh fruit.
A good yield is considered to be about a pound per plant, and our growers may get more than that in some cases with as long as season as we have.
Weather in December and January was cool and by Louisiana standards dry. This allowed growers to stay on top of any pest problems.
We haven't had as much rain this year, so it's not as much disease pressure. And also not having continuous rain allows the farmers to be able to get into the field and make a protective fungicide application.
Corona has been around strawberries most of his life, but he will admit he has not mastered them.
It's the most challenging thing I've ever done. You can do everything perfect, and one bad night, can set the whole thing ablaze for you. But it's the most challenging thing I have ever done, and I've done a good bit in my life.
With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
According to the LSU Ag Center's latest Ag Summary, Louisiana has nearly 50 commercial strawberry growers with a total gross farm value of nearly $9 million. The mission is clear. The Louisiana Ag in the Classroom is trying to teach future generations about agriculture. In years past, this would happen by volunteers visiting local schools and giving first-hand accounts of life on the farm. But now, in 2021, in the midst of a global pandemic, like many groups, Louisiana Ag in the Classroom has found a new way to do that. The organization has turned the Ag Literacy volunteer-based program into a resource bundle mailed to teachers interested in the program. Louisiana Ag in the Classroom coordinator Linda Danos says this does not replace the volunteers in the classroom, but it's a step in the right direction.
We knew we couldn't have volunteers going into schools, so we just pivoted and said, hey teachers, you register your classrooms, we'll send you the materials, and we'll do it that way. Now, we do have some of our state committee members that are doing some virtual readings in classrooms, which is still not ideal, but it is, you still have that farmer to school to classroom connection.
There are still plenty of books and teacher plans to be sent out, but you must register online to get your copy. Registration is open until April 1st or while supplies last, so get your registration in early. You can find the link to do that on our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on TWILA, a football player turned farmer. His story after the break. We showed you last week, crawfish season is off to a slow start this year, but it is going. So we're back to bringing you crawfish prices each week. Let's start off with our friends at Tony's Seafood in Baton Rouge, where live crawfish are $5.19 a pound and their boiled bugs are $6.49. In Lafayette, shells and tails live crawfish are $4 a pound, while their boiled are going for $6.50. In Alexandria, Crawfish Plus has some of the cheapest prices we found. Live are going for $3.99 a pound, where boiled are running $5.89 a pound. Especially with COVID around, it's more important than ever to check your local crawfish vendor before heading out. Either give them a call or use the Crawfish app for the latest prices. These crawfish prices are brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, which reminds you to always Ask before you eat to be sure it's Louisiana crawfish. Well, it's Super Bowl weekend, and this week we have a very fitting TWILA Boost for you. Jason Brown was considered one of the most talented and highest paid centers in the NFL. But in 2014, he traded his career on the football field for another field, a 1,000-acre farm.
My name is Jason Brown, former NFL football player with the St. Louis Rams and the Baltimore Ravens. And in 2012, I was released by the St. Louis Rams. And instead of looking at that as a tragedy, I actually looked at it as an opportunity for another door to be opened in my life. And it was definitely a leap of faith. And with my wife backing me 100%, decided to exit my career in the NFL. And with that leap of faith, everything just started just lining up, and it really wasn't me. I knew that it was God's plan for myself and my family. The things that I've witnessed, the doors that He has opened and closed, the movement that I've seen with Him throughout not just my life, but my wife and our beautiful children. To tell you the truth, I would have it no other way. A lot of people, they told me and my wife, they said, "Oh, Jason, you're an NFL football player. Your wife, she's a dentist. You guys, you're a power couple. You're on top of the world." And we lived, a worldly lifestyle. It was, we were on top of the world, and worldly standards, and everything that we did. When we were in St. Louis, we had a mansion. It was a beautiful home. I mean, something that you would see that would be the best thing on MTV Cribs. And I know it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, whereas like, why would you give that up? Why would you leave that and now stay in a 100-year-old farmhouse? Why, and also, and why would you be out here, working, digging up dirt when you don't have to? But the thing is, this is the most rewarding thing I've done with my life. It's living a life with purpose.
Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when Carl will take us back to the St. Helena Farmers Market to introduce us to a few of the farmers there. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find all of these stories and more on our YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to us and turn on the notifications so you know when we put out new content. For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.